I had a previous experience of a hearing aid about, I suppose, 8 or 10 years ago, and I bought it, and I had no support really from the firm that sold this instrument to me. And after a while I abandoned it. Mind you, it wasn't as expensive as yours, but still, nevertheless, it was money down the drain. So that rather put me off hearing aids for quite a long time. But of course, as time passed, I found that it was more and more difficult for me to hear what people said. And so I was eventually persuaded to come and visit Ascent, and in particular to deal with Dr. Anzola. And I must say that from the point of view of general civility and service and just ordinary pleasantness, this is one of the best experiences I've ever had with any company. And certainly it was much superior to anything I'd experienced with hearing aids at an earlier time. For one thing, that there was always somebody on the phone, or if I came to the office, in the office, to deal with the problems I had. And I was never kept waiting for any time. I always felt that I could spread myself, so to speak, and explain exactly how I was feeling about the problems that I encountered, because I did encounter problems, and still do to some extent encounter problems, which are partly due, I think, to design and perhaps the stage of development that this particular kind of machinery has. But from the point of view of the people who actually served me, they were first-rate and are first-rate, and I'm very happy to have dealt with them. Now, when we come to details, the sort of thing that becomes a problem for an old man is, first of all, that some of these bits and pieces of the machine are very, very small and therefore very difficult to handle. For example, I'm only just now beginning to find it fairly easy to change batteries. Before that, they were so small that I had a good time flipping them all over my bedroom and then getting down on my hands and knees to search for where the wretched things had gone. And of course, the other thing is, because they're so small, they don't last for very long. And another thing which took me by surprise was that the life of the battery differed between the two ears, and I don't think I was warned about that, but still that has been the case. And it would be, if it were conceivable to kind of even out the length of the battery life between the two ears, that would simply be an improvement, I think. The other thing, of course, that everybody must experience is that the insertion of the hearing aid into my ear is more difficult in one ear than the other. And it's taken me quite a time to get used to doing that, and I suppose that really this is just a human problem of the different structure of everybody's ears, but in my right ear I find it very difficult to insert the little machine. Another problem, once again, speaking just for myself, is that I do accumulate a lot of wax in my ears. And this accumulation of wax has been difficult to overcome, especially since I'm so old-fashioned and stupid that I forget to sometimes forget where I put the last bits of pieces to make insertions and so forth into my ear. So that was another problem. But when the machine is working, for ordinary conversation, provided I'm not in a very noisy environment, I find I get along perfectly well. However, if I'm listening to people from a distance, or if there is a very heavy background of sound, then it's much more difficult, and I don't know what can be done about that. So let it be said that at this point in time, I'm really very happy with the service, and I'll say moderately to well satisfied with the machine itself.